I'd like to thank our top sponsors Bergamo, Fergus Ryan, Sean Roberts, Matthias Prøy, and Eivind Josten for making the show possible. And welcome to the Cave of Apelles. This evening I sit down with the composer who will explain how he achieved the gripping, almost visual effects of works like Atomblitz-Ouvertüre and Elegie. He is also the founder of Harmonia Classica, an Austrian organization that promotes classical music made today. My guests will share their successes, but also explain the politics that stops new tonal music from being widely performed. Nevertheless, he can give us hope. The situation is actually getting better. Alexander Blechinger, welcome to the Cave of Apelles.
Thank you very much.
So do we start with the Aum?
Yes.
Should we do that?
Good.
Aum. That feels really good. Now we're in sync with the universe. Okay. You have to tell me something about your education before we start talking about the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre. I would like to just go right at that because I love that work. I've been listening to it again and again to try to understand what you've been doing, and it escapes me still. But we'll wait a little bit with that.
I'm surprised too.
Okay, we're both in shock.
Yeah, we're shocked, really.
But another shock is that you can actually educate yourself as a tonal composer today.
It is, yeah, it began when I was a child, about 5 years, and we had a piano at home, and my elder brother, he played Blue Moon. Yeah, he learned it at the Musikschule, music school, and I listened at the music, and in the morning I didn't go to school yet. I tried out to find this melody, and after a while I had it, and then I thought, he played also something with the left hand, but it was so complicated. It was boom chuck, boom chuck, boom chuck. That was not the right step for the first time, and so I invented a new accompany. And then
this was your opus 1.
Opus 1, but it was the first piece in this life.
Yeah.
I played on the piano was Blue Moon. Yes.
Well, that reminds me of that Inuit story of the hunter who dies. He wants to be reborn, and then when he's reborn again, he, as a little child, he says his own name. So the parents understand that that's what his name is going to be, and then he can live to be hunter one more time, one more life.
Yeah,
it sort of sounds like that. You were starting to compose again.
yeah. Maybe I continue.
Right.
I continue.
Right.
Yeah, and then my sister asked me, also elder sister, and she asked me. She is singing in a music band, the Spitfires, called the Spitfires, like the and Havanegila. Havanegila, I didn't know Havanegila, so she sang it to me, and I tried to find out the accompany of this. So that was the first repetition.
Right. Okay.
Havanegila.
Okay.
Havanegila, 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 Ishmacha. So, and that's, I don't know the text, so sure, but more or less that was the second one. Right. Then my grandma said he should go to the piano teacher, but my father said no, first he has to do the elementary school. So I had to educate myself continuously till to the 10th year.
Yeah, just by yourself.
More or less,
yeah.
Yes, more or less. And then I came to the piano teacher, and she showed me a book, Sum, Bienchen sum herum. Sum, Bienchen sum herum.
Okay.
Yeah, so I tried it out, and I had it after a while, and I said, oh, that's it. Okay. and then I made too many jokes to get good, to get a real good pianist. And with 14, I got the invitation to a boy band, and they wanted me to sing and to play the organ and to compose. And I tried hard the first time. It was really hard. It was really hard to find out a new melody. And after several trials, I got it somehow, and they were more or less content, and they encouraged me to make it further. So to get on composing.
Right.
So, and then, because they said, no, it's not enough to play the music of the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and so on. We have to have our own music. So that was my beginning as composer.
Right. You started within pop music?
Pop music, yes.
But when did you get interested in classical music proper then? Like, what triggered that?
That was the time when they only wanted to play a song one time through, and then the next one time through, and the next one time through, and the next one time through. And I was not satisfied very much with that, because they didn't get better. They just made it for fun. And sometimes one of them say, "Oh no, next week I can't come. I'm in the country house with the parents." And so I began to make piano music, piano pieces for myself first, and I showed it to my piano teacher, and she said, "Oh, that's like Debussy or something like yes." Oh.
But was she teaching you classical piano?
No.
Okay.
No. I only played it, and she said what she thought.
Right.
Yeah.
So you hadn't heard of Debussy before that, or?
I didn't study Debussy. Maybe I heard it in the radio. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
Maybe I was influenced in that way. So hearing the radio. So my sister often plays singles. We call them singles.
Like the LPs,
small ones.
LP,
LPs were there with 33 laps per minute, and the singles were 45.
Right.
Laps, so were smaller ones, and she liked that and danced with me. Das ist der Popocatépetl-Twist. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in the 60s. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And yes, and I also tried to play Beethoven and Mozart, and later also Bach with the first piano teacher. But more or less, I was the composer and the leader, then also the leader of this boy band.
Right.
And we did also some competitions. So, and the last great end point of the competitions we were in the best 3 groups.
Okay.
And we played in the Wiener Konzerthaus, in the großen Saal, in the big hall. Yeah. So that was the first time when I came in touch with this institution.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And after the Abitur, what's that?
Like your high school exam? Yeah.
The college.
Yeah, I always mix those up. But when you're 18, right?
Yeah. College exam. So I went to the army, and then I wanted to go to the conservatory for jazz piano.
Okay.
But I played Beethoven, and they said, "No, Beethoven, you're not jazz.
You're in the wrong section here."
I just wanted to learn or to study music. I hadn't this detailed idea that there's classic, that there's jazz, and there's pop, and just music.
Right. Okay.
Just music. I said, "No, okay." So the dream platzte. It was the bursted. No.
Burst. Yeah.
Bursted. Yeah. So, but then I had a situation. The oldest of the room oldest in the army, told me.
Yeah, the oldest one in that room.
In that room from there where I was 18 and some of them were maybe 24 and he was 30. So he was the oldest. And he said, come with me to the choir. We will sing in the choir. Yes, normally I exercised piano after the army when I was allowed to go home, because I had a new piano teacher. She was much stricter, much more strict, and she said, Alexander, wir müssen ganz von vorne beginnen.
Begin from the beginning.
Yeah, we have to begin from the very beginning. From the very beginning, it was all shit. So, so I exercised from maybe when I came home 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock, and then I went to the army again with the tramway. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But this time I went to the chorus singing, and so it was in the inner city of Vienna. It was called the Schutzkantorei. And the Schutzkantorei was led by Augustin Kubizek. And wonder why? He was a professor at the nowadays called University of Music. And he was the professor of Tonsatz. So meaning counterpoint, harmony, and so the right man for me. So, and I asked him maybe if I could come to him, and he said yes, you can be a guest listener, Gasthörer.
In the lectures in the university.
In his lectures.
Okay.
And then I tried very, very hard to get this Aufnahmeprüfung, to get this.
Well, the exam of entry or
exam, yeah, to get in, and wonder why I made it.
Right.
I was astonished.
It's a lot of astonishing details coming forth here now.
Yeah, it was really wow. And then I did his part of study in 2 years, not in 4 years, but in 2 years, because I worked before as guest.
Right. Okay. So you could do it in a shorter time. Yeah.
Yes.
But just to understand, it's Tonsatz.
Yeah.
Was that
strenger Satz?
Yeah.
You know strenger
So,
Satz.
but was
Palestrina.
Yeah.
You know Palestrina?
Yeah.
You like Palestrina?
I haven't heard that much, but
no.
Yeah. Actually, our mutual friend Boris Scholar gave me something by Palestrina.
Yeah. So strenger Satz is very. So one author is Fuchs. Gradus ad Parnassum.
Okay.
We had Jeppesen. Maybe he's Norwegian. Jeppesen.
Could be, or Danish.
Yeah, Jeppesen. Yeah. Knut Jeppesen.
Sounds Danish.
Or is Danish? Or Swedish? I don't know. More or less it was very strict, so you have to go through all the counterpoints, and that was very interesting for me, because that was new. Because I did it how I felt. I did it
prior to that. Yeah.
I did it my way. yeah. But before the song existed.
Well,
maybe it was my.
That's 1 point for you.
My.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was very fond of all these counterpoints, and we made also. Melody making and free freier Satz, so strenger Satz, freier Satz, strenger Satz, many rules, and freier Satz, less rules.
Okay.
Less rules, but still tonal.
But was the point of this study that you should become a composer, or was it just to study to learn the technique of the music?
No, to become a composer. That's the first part.
Yeah.
The first part is Tonsatz. It's called Tonsatz. In the university. So at that time it was called Hochschule für Musik und Darstellende Kunst in Wien. So it's the same building as the große Saal des Konzerthauses. It's in the same building.
So you were back to
back to the roots. Yeah. But it was more or less in many buildings. Now it is concentrated in the Anton von Webernplatz.
Oh, okay.
Very, very apting place.
But can you just, for people who don't know, just explain a little bit about counterpoint, harmony, these basic things that you learned, and a little bit about
what it is?
Yeah, and what
it is?
Yeah, what did you get from it? How did it help you to study that?
Oh, that's very fundamental. Yeah. If you make counterpoint, you first have to have the ability to make a line, a melody. Yeah. First, you have a melody. The ability to make a melody. The ability to just make a melody till tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. Yeah. And the next thing is to put a second voice to it. That's counterpoint. Punctus, contra, punctum.
Two.
Bim, bum, bim, bum, bim, bum, 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 bum. So, and there are many variations to make this. So you can make bum, 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 and you can make bum, bim, bum, 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 bum. So the one music, the one melody is this, and the other melody is this, and they should fit. They should fit. Yeah, that's the problem.
I have to forget. No, I have to remember. Yeah.
That's the problem. Yeah. And so you also have to know harmony. So what is harmony? You make chorals like a Vom Himmel hoch da komm ich her. Maybe you know this. No, you don't know it. No, it's a hit. It's a hit in the Katholische Kirche.
Well, I'm a Protestant by birth,
so they don't sing it.
It's a problem.
That's the maybe.
That's a big problem, I know.
But that's from Luther.
Okay.
The melody.
Wow.
It's from Luther, so you should know.
That's perverted. It becomes a hit in the Catholic Church. No.
Yeah, they sing they sing everything. But the intention was to get people into the church. So you have also the Parodiemessen. Parody. I'll make a parody out of it. Yeah, we make an interview and I make a parody out of it. That's not okay. But for the church it is okay, because you can make Mein Gemüt ist mir verwirret von einer Jungfrau zart. You know that?
You sing a lot of songs I don't know.
Okay.
Next time don't ask me, because it's getting embarrassing.
That is, I think it's Orlando di Lasso, Roland Lass. Mein Gemüt ist mir verwirret von einer Jungfrau zart. So my heart is more or less, or my mind is set up because of this young girl.
Yes.
More or less. And the church made out of it, O Haupt voll Blut und Wunden. Yeah, so that is meant Christ on the cross.
Okay.
Yeah, but the people like the melody, and so they go to church. And that did the church do in the Gothic time. They make parodies. So they have some hits, and also then in the Baroque period, they had hits, and they made new texts, but the same hits, and the people come into the church. And that's the parody mass. So, yeah, now I delayed from the...
No, that's fine. But harmony, to know that things go together, that is...
Yeah.
But that presupposes that it is tonal, it is rhythm, it is a...
Yeah, we have to say that our modern music stems from the Baroque music, more or less. Because since the Baroque, this music is normal for us. So Baroque and rock is no much difference. So same chords, same combination of harmonies, so cadences, you call it cadences, if the melody falls, cadere, from cadere to fall. And this is till now, except some dead tweaks like 12-tone music, but that is dead. And the most people, they don't know it even. They don't know it. What modern music? Yes, that is. Let's say, who is that? Madonna, modern music. Yeah, they know that as modern music. ABBA.
Right.
Modern music, yeah.
Based on some basic principles that were developed in the Baroque era?
Excuse me?
They are based on some principles that were developed in the Baroque era.
Yes, yeah. It began in the Baroque era, and it was culminated in the classical era. And the Hartley music was then developed from I feel in my heart, I feel with my heart, I express with my heart. It was in the Romantic era, more or less.
That reminds me of one thing. It's sort of a different subject, but when you say that, I read somewhere, I just want to see what you think about it, that particularly in the Renaissance, like the 15th century, 15th, 16th century, it was a new notion, or started to come in, the new notion that music could imitate emotions, or imitate a story, or imitate some kind of action.
Yeah.
Was that really a quite new thing then, or did it exist before? The idea that music can imitate nature, can imitate emotions, or can imitate some kind of action or story.
Yeah. The Renaissance epoch is more or less the first, let's say, discovery epoch. So the antique is discovered. The antique stories are discovered, and the third is discovered. So it is discovered as a consonance. Before, the third was a dissonance, more or less. So you never ended a piece with a third. You have bam 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 bam. If you da 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 dum bam, maybe you can end this, or you bam 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 bam, but you cannot end da 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 da. No, okay. Not before the Renaissance. So in the Gothic time, you have the fifth and the fourth. There are some consonants, of course, the octaves, bam bam bam, or bam bam, or the bam bam. That's the fifth, the first word, the fourth, and that's the consonances. And in these waves, you can make a Wellenreiten, so
like a wave.
Wave biking, no, wave.
Riding. Literally,
wave, yeah. And that turned out more and more complicated, till one of the greatest Gothic composers, Josquin de Pré, with 70, he found out chansons. And if you hear them, you say, okay, that's nice, Renaissance music. Yeah, so he's one of the bridges to our music, okay. More or less. And the difference between the Renaissance and the Baroque epoch is that in the Baroque epoch you want to dance. You have dance clubs, yeah, you have discos, yeah, adelige discos, yeah. So
discos for nobles.
For noble discos, yeah. Noble discos. You have dances. You have gavotte. You have gigue. You have allemande. You have courante, and so. And before that time, you don't have that. But at the Baroque time, you have instrumental music. The instrumental music begins with the Baroque time. Before it was, we have no singer. You have a trumpet play the voice of the singer. Yeah? Oh, we have no trumpet. We have a singer more. Yes, sing the voice of the trumpet. So it's you can change it out.
Okay.
In the Renaissance time. So as much musicians you have, you can use them anyway. And since Monteverdi, he founded more or less, or he was a co-founder of the instrumentation, of the instrumental music. And then one of greatest ones was Antonio Vivaldi with the Jahreszeiten, the seasons, 4 seasons. So you know it maybe.
Yeah.
That
one I do know.
No, the point goes to.
Okay, so you go then through this 2-year basically study to learn to be a composer, and
what it was the fundamental.
Yeah.
So to make chorals, also chorals for 4 voices, sing at the same time the same text, and the others is make fugues and
fugue.
Yeah. So, and when I had done that, that was the point to find a composition teacher, and I had to make the decision. Ask a composer which is similar to what I have done, or on the contrary, in the contrast to that what I had done. And I took the last one and asked, his name is Friedrich Zerha, and I asked him if I can be his pupil for 4 years. And nevertheless, he said yes, so I don't know why.
But he was making so-called modern music.
So-called 12-tone music.
Yeah,
12-tone music.
Okay.
Yeah. But we had a good understanding. It was fine, and he always asked me, can you compose today this sort of music? So, schöne neue Musik, can you compose that? I said yes. He said no. But it was no problem.
Right, so he was respectful.
Yeah.
Despite of his question, he was respectful of your desires.
Yeah. One time, a piece of mine was also performed in his concert series. His concert series were called Die Reihe.
Yeah.
Die Reihe. And there were some. Stefan Soltes conducted it. It was a small bläser quintet. So. What's called that?
Wind
quintet. Wind quintet. And also Kurt Schwerzig, another composer, played the horn, and other more or less famous instrumentalists played it. And I heard the rehearsal, and I said, you have to slow down here, and here you have to accelerate. You have to. Don't you hear that? And one of them said, no, if you don't write it down, we play it just so.
Right. So
I was shocked. I was really shocked. I put all this note stuff and I wrote down go slower, go faster, and so. And in the evening it was perfect.
Right.
Yeah. But that was a shock. I was really shocked.
You were shocked they didn't feel your intentions.
They didn't. No, they hadn't the time. They hadn't the time to study it so long. So he conducted it because it is the most effective way to get new music done. Because if you let the musicians alone, that they come together 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 20 times, 100 times. To get into this music, it costs much time. If you have a conductor, it's easy.
Yeah.
You just follow the beat and it goes on.
Right.
Mostly it is in 4/4.
So that's the only reason why there is a conductor, because there's too little time to study the music.
Yes, it's funny, but It's not all, in the new music. Most time it's not that he gives the emotion, but that he just makes order, makes clear where who comes, when who comes. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and you should also notate it in that way. You should notate it that it is easily beaten, but it will it does not have any connection with the music. It's only like the second of the clock, and I did it my way. Yeah, and I notated, and I had some similar symphony, and it was really hard to conduct.
Yeah.
And also Stravinsky said that if he had known that he had to conduct himself the Rite of Spring, he would have notated it in a totally other way.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh, how strange.
So.
But I think now we have to get into the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre.
Yeah, please.
And this is also, we haven't talked about it yet, but this is why we have this wonderful painting by Odd Nerdrum on the wall, because apparently, and you didn't tell me, there is a connection here in terms of what the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre is about, or what the story of it is.
Yeah. That struck me hard when I saw this picture, this wonderful picture. Because that is the core of it. That's the core, the really core. Because in the opera, the two lovers didn't get each other. They were separated. It was chanceless. They had the love piece at the beginning, and then they were separated, step by step separated. And now I wanted to do in the overture the opposite, that they find together at the end. And I used these music parts of the opera for the overture. That's nothing new, but
so it consists of different themes.
But the connection of these pieces, of these parts, is a new one. So it is not the following like in the opera, but it's another, and it's another story. It's the story how they find. So first is the Atomblitz, the detonation or the destroying act, and then it goes together. And so that was the idea, because the opera I made it in the 80s. So after the study, so my study ends in 1984, and then I made this opera, Ein Fest in die Zukunft, a feast into the future, and this I did some years before, I think 2018, so maybe 30 years after.
Right. That Atomblitz-Ouvertüre, 30 years after. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a part of a suite. It should be a little suite, or a little, not symphony. It's no symphony, but there are three overtures or Zwischenspiele entre act.
They're in between acts.
Yeah. So I did already two, and the third is lacking.
Okay.
So before the first act is the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre, and there are some arias or some chorus musics, and they grip one into the other and make a new piece. So on the surface you say, okay, that's the opera, that's this part of the opera, but as a whole it is a new thing, because it has another intention. And at the end of this Atomblitz-Ouvertüre, the time goes back. The time goes, and it begins, and you have the beginning of the opera.
Yeah, I've been listening to it quite a few times now, and it's very strange, that beginning, that it goes very intensely and then starts falling down, sort of trickling down.
Yeah, that's the
and
fallout.
then you get that theme, which is so wonderful. It almost seems like these waves sort of intermingling.
The text will be in the opera of this melody is Wasser großt Steine auf sandigem Grund. So water großen maybe
go well. How do you say it?
Goes over, but in a dolce manner. Very dolce. Over the stones on the ground, which is full of sand, and that's more or less a sad song. For the overture, it's a sad song, and for the opera, it's a resignation song, because it's at the end of the first act.
Okay.
At the end, because when they were destroyed, when they were torn apart, when he was shocked by drugs and shock, and so it was the agony. And here it is just the melancholy. So it's another.
It has some intense yearning to it. That is, strong longing.
Yeah.
In that.
Yeah.
That
it's this longing. This longing. You're right. This longing is still here, also in the opera, because he still, maybe unconsciously, he loves her still.
That's because what. So people will link to it because it's on YouTube. But when you have this grand movements coming, and then you have this little bell, ding ding, that goes in very. That's one thing you do, that you have it. You don't have specific monotonous rhythm, but you push the rhythm back and forth.
Yeah.
So it sort of slips a bit and then continues, and it gives it a very strange. I imagine if you try to do that and you don't know enough about what you do, it just becomes chaotic and annoying. But you manage to do it exactly in the right spot, so that I can describe exactly what it is, but it gives some sense of movement, of walking, or of it contributes to that yearning.
It's a sort of indoctrination. It's a sort of indoctrination music. It's in the opera. It's a sort of indoctrination music. Okay. And here in the overture, it is a sort of getting into the flow, getting forward.
Yeah, because it's like it goes sort of haltingly into a very flowing rhythm.
So it gets out of the agony through the longing, and then comes into the acting, and then comes the acting first in very rough way. So that's in the.
So when you're making this as a separate piece, but it's based on the opera, but for example, in that, that first, what is it 2 minutes or so? People should just go and listen to it. Do you envision a specific action going on then, or you don't think about the opera anymore? Like how do you? Because that's one thing I want to ask you. If you have a specific thing that shall happen, why do you choose these instruments? Why do you have that little bell there and there, and not there and there? And can you say something about how you technically craft the image we get in our heads?
Different instruments have a different character. That's fundamental. So you have and different scales have also different character. So if you have, Dur is happy music, and Moll is sad music.
Major, yeah.
Major,
Yeah.
minor is major is happy music, minor is sad music, and then you have also the Kirchentonarten, so the modal, the modes, the different modes. If you have a scale, you can go from the C to the C. You can go from the D to the D, from the E to the E, from the F to the F to the G, from the G, the A to the A, and the H to the H. So when you only take the white Tasten,
the white keys, yeah.
the white keys.
Yeah.
So if you only take the white keys, you have seven scales, 7 different scales, and they are called. So and in this scale, what you say it's so longing is the aeolic. The aeolic, like the aeolus, is the wind.
Right.
Yeah. And da 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 dee da 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 dee da bum bum da 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 dee da 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 dee dum bum bum da 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 dee 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 da da dee dum bum 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 ba da dee da 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 dee dee dum bum bum. Then it's repeated and repeated and repeated, or more instrumented and more. So it begins very soft, with strings, and you have the Glockenspiel, bing bing, and
a little bell there.
Yeah, it's the bell. Quasi, it's the Glockenspiel, and you have some also other instruments. So the harp helps a little bit. So that's how I hear it. So I have the intention. How shall it come over to the audience? And how shall it sound? And this sound I hear with my inner voice or with my inner sense, and then I notate it, what I have, these experiences I had made in my life as a composer. I know this sounds here good, and that could also be a nice. So, and I use then the strings in a lower range, also the violas, so the violins, the violas, and have now then that sound, and then I can double it with wind music of the wood. The wood can also a little bit participate, and later on come the horns. So it's very classical. So what you do because you have to think. One flute weighs up 8 violins. One flute or one clarinet, 8 violins or 8 violas, 8. Yeah, so that's the power.
Right. So
to begin, the softest way is to begin with the strings. If you want to analyze it, yeah. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. So that there's a specific effect of these different instruments that you sort of know which color you need to grab.
Yeah. Each instrument has a character in it, more or less in it, and it is. You can alter it a little bit in this direction or in that direction. Some instruments more, some instruments less. So you have a big repertoire with the violins. You have a big repertoire with the piano, and you have not so a big repertoire with the harp. Yeah, or not so a big repertoire with the drums, but a bigger with the kettle, with the timpani, with the. It's big. You can pam 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 pam. You can.
Yeah, so a great variety in how you can use it.
Yeah. And the range, and then you can combine sounds. You can combine these sounds, and you can, like a painter, you can make some combinations of colors, and they have a new effect. And so this is also in instrumentation. So Boris Koller said, you can paint music, more or less, and he's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's a striking thing that I mean, the next theme that comes, when you use that the little bell, one of the things you do at least to create that transition into a theme that is quite different and much more intense, that you build up as you go. What is that all about, that transition there?
Yeah, the transition is you have this bum, 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 and then first you have this and then bum, bum, bum. You have this bum, bum, bum. You have it already.
Yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. Then you get into, you have the rhythm, and you get into the next character.
Yeah.
Totally different character, but you have the connection with this rhythm.
There's a mirroring
connects.
of the rhythm. Yeah. There's a similarity in rhythm that unites two very different atmospheres or different moods.
Yeah. They are different, but the rhythm is similar, or you can connect. So that was the idea. And how I did it, I knew I have a reservoir. So that was the intention. I have a reservoir in the opera of themes. There are themes. And which one is the next? The next bitte. Next one, please, come on. Yeah, that's the way. But the intention to build another story. So make the overture is another story than the opera. There are two stories. There are two parts of time tracks, two time tracks going apart. So the first time track in the overture goes together, and then it goes back, and then you have the time track and it goes apart in the opera. So you can choose, shall it go together or shall it go apart?
Do you want them to have each other or not?
You can do it. You can make it. You can decide it.
But that's something, I mean, so you have, I just really noticed these two first sort of parts, and then you have different parts in the whole middle there, with some beautiful strings, and it's quite varying fairly soon. And that's something you do, at least I noticed a couple of times, that you have this one theme and you don't necessarily repeat it either. You can quickly change it into something else.
Yeah.
So that it's not. Does it have to do with that if you repeat something too many times, it loses intensity or loses point?
No, it's just let's say it's no symphony.
Okay.
It's no symphony movement.
Yeah.
But it's an overture, and this overture shows you what is in this opera.
Right.
And that's
that simple.
That's this form. This form is an overture, and so you can make like a revue. You make a revue, and the best will be if the revue is one big thing.
Exactly.
Not this part and then that part and then that part, but it's like a dome, like a dome.
Right.
And that was my intention. The intention that it shall be one piece.
Yeah. And speaking of that, sort of coming down again, before we get into this whole thing that you're doing with Harmonia Classica too, towards the end there, I guess it's like the last, again, maybe 2 minutes or something like that, where it's like, you can say that it's not tonal, but it's not a specific melody. It's more these moods that sort of dissolve towards the end of the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre.
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Why it dissolves?
Yeah.
It is the melting.
Yeah.
These two are, first you hear the the Volkslied der Liebenden, so that's the love duet. You have the love duet of those both. In the opera, it's in the beginning. In the overture, it's more or less at the end.
Right.
And then you have also the song of a third person. It's called Viru, but not coronavirus. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry. So,
Extra point.
So the librettist, Elisabeth Schrattenholzer, she is a so-called Hellseher. Was sagt man wie sagt man Hellsehen?
What, that she's clairvoyant, or
What?
that she's clairvoyant?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Clairvoyant. Yeah. She's that.
Yeah.
She's that. And she made up a scenery playing maybe in 2 years. So she always said to me, Alexander, we are at least 10 years before. We are not 10 years before, we are maybe 50 years before, or 40 years before of present time. And so maybe I will not have a atomic war. No, yeah.
Because that's the background of the
That's the
opera.
background of the opera. And so a few have secured the knowing of the former civilization, and the others not. They don't know it.
Okay.
And that's the play.
Right.
And here, the third person is the last president goes with the girl into the mountains, and they live there together. And then he dies. And she doesn't want that he dies, but he says he has to go the next step, and she shall go back to her lover, her first lover, and that's this music. That's this. That's a little hymn.
Very sentimental. It's wonderful.
Very sentimental,
Wonderful.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's in the opera a little bit broader.
Yeah.
And then the time goes back.
Yeah, because I noticed that was a cunning thing when you have it in the beginning, and then it falls down.
Yeah.
And in the end, it's going.
Yeah, it's
full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it can connect.
Yes.
It can connect to the opera.
Yeah. I suddenly realized that. Wait a minute, it's connecting these two parts that are quite far apart. And composing in that sense is quite similar to painting, right? You need to have that figure connected with that figure in that corner, and so that they are one part of one whole. Speaking of that dome. Right?
Yeah, that was my intention, to make it in that way.
But you have some colleagues too.
Yes.
Yes, and so let's get into Harmonia Classica, and we have some CDs there. But first, just tell us a little bit about what it is, what kind of activities you do. All details. No.
All details. Or no details.
No. Okay, let's skip the details.
All details. So we began with this association, with this platform more or less, because in the 80s, so Harmonia Classica is now 40 years old, and in the 80s there was no platform for tonal music, for new music.
Newly made tonal music, yeah.
Was not existing. No existing AVO part was not existing, and others were also not existing, and Penderecki also not tonal existing, so they were not. And a colleague of mine, he made a poster, and there stood "Schöne neue Musik?" ? Beautiful new music ? And I had the bad idea, to let the question mark, to leave it, the question mark. So it stood only "Schöne neue Musik."
Yeah.
And that was like an atom bomb.
That's a very nice connection to the in subject here, to the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre.
Yeah. So and politics doesn't want that. They don't want I felt, I experienced, they don't want schöne neue Musik. They don't want beautiful new music. Why? Because beautiful new music, like beautiful new painting, goes into a future that is positive.
Right.
And they don't want a positive future for Europe. They don't want it. But nevertheless, my colleague wanted to end this after 2 years, but I didn't want to end this, so I made gathered with other.
But this was like a concert series then, or?
It was a concert series. We made 4 concerts up to. Sometimes we tried 6 concerts per year. It was a little bit too much, but now we have 5 concerts per year. Different concert programs per year, different. And we have also competition for.
Yes, I saw that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, competition is that different composers can show their instruments. We only say maybe this time it is for clarinet or for oboe or for saxophone or for another instrument, or for piano or for singing or for string quartet. Boris Koller made the first prize in string quartet. And we have a jury of 3 people. Now we have 4 people that consists of the interprets, so who plays the music.
Performers, the executors. Yeah.
The executors, yes, of myself, and one person of the board of directors. And the winners, first, second, and third place, they will be performed, and they get also a recording, and they get on a CD. And others who not have won the first, second, and third place can also participate and can finally win the audience prize.
Right.
So the audience can also choose who's the best, so that we have a balance. We have to see of the experts. They like this, and the audience like maybe that. And
this is a fantastic thing that you're doing there, because it's I think perhaps too many wait to be accepted by the so-called experts and authorities, wait for something to happen. But you're doing something yourself.
Yes, because if you have a system in front of you that will not help you, what have you to do? You have to make an own system, a parallel system. If this existing system does not help you or does not want you, you have nothing to do with it. Yeah. That's not existing.
Don't pay tribute to that system when it doesn't help you.
Yeah. Why should I? Why should I? So if they don't help me, why should I contribute to them?
Yeah.
So we have an own, of course, not so big, not so well sponsored, but we have an own system, and the composers are from all over the world. It's not only Austria, not only Vienna or German-speaking world.
So Harmonia Classica is Austrian-based, but it's not just for Austria.
It's in some way it's also international, some way, but it is not negative. It is not creating things that you only want to hear. If you are a normal audience, want to hear only one time. There are always audiences for each sort of music or sort of art, yes? But we want to integrate the new, beautiful new music into society. We want to integrate it, that it is a part of it, not a corner somewhere where nobody goes to. Right. Yeah? And each of the composers can decide by himself what is beautiful new music. So not I say that is beautiful and that is not. So we have a jury, maybe they like this, like that, okay?
But it's the direction is that it's tonal or classical music.
Yeah, the direction is you have to love harmony, you have to have a contact to harmony, to beauty, like beauty, to like to make. Some composers don't like beauty, so they can do their work in other platforms or find their luck in other.
Yeah. But speaking of then, when you say beautiful music, what do you say to this? And you talked about harmonic. What do you say to this? I mean, this is a typical cliche that if you make something that is agreeable to listen to, then you're giving the audience exactly what they want. You're not challenging them, and then you're giving them. You are in the comfort zone. But you have to challenge them so they can listen to something that is uncomfortable because that's the only way you grow. Blah 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 as a human being. What do you say to that?
I say to this. You cannot know what is challenging for the audience. So if you think you have to do something challenging, maybe it's not challenging because they heard it the last 100 years. Yeah. So the best is to do what you think, what you feel with your heart. You can then express it, and the people will find it and react upon that. But to think it's the wrong way to think. I have to construct something what is difficult to understand or difficult to hear, and how could that go? And it must be complicated. No, that's the wrong way. I think I am always searching to be as simple as possible, because it in the time in the running of the time it goes 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 10 minutes, and so on. It gets more and more complicated by itself. So I always choose the simplest solution, always the simplest, the most catching solution.
Yeah, and there's also this idea that if you really make something that can make a person cry or feel some strong emotion, that is most definitely challenging. If you're put on the spot by music in that way, that you really start crying from it. Right? That's not easy. That's not that challenges you in the neutral sense of the term.
Yeah, first you have, I think, crying. Yeah, first you have yourself to cry with making this music, and if you you feel it, maybe the audience also will feel it.
Yeah, so you test it on yourself first.
Yes, yes, of course.
Do you have any relation to the idea of making something that is eternal?
Yeah, eternal. I spoke also with Mr. Ott Nerdrum about this. And if you have the strengen Satz, so the Palestrina style, you are near to the eternal feelings.
Right.
Yeah, because it's can be so sweet, but it is not. It has no modern style in it. So it is timeless. It's a timeless music, and if you can make these fundamentals of the music, you are near to this eternal music, I think. And then you can wake up your fantasy.
Yeah, because I think that's when again, it's listening to that first theme of the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre. I don't really think of it as music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like now I'm listening to music, tones being. I mean, I remember talking to this modernist composer, and he defined music for me. And says music are tones relating to each other in space, like completely, like he had some operation gloves on. He was in just looking at music from afar. There was no kind of sentimentality, no kind of pathos in his way of describing what music is. But I mean, you do the exact opposite in the beginning there of the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre, when you have a sensation, a bodily sensation of how the music affects you, and that's, I think, that is my idea about this. Then that if it affects your body, that's when you can start talking about something that is eternal. It has to affect your body somehow.
Of course, otherwise you are a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So the constructing period is the home. It is in the 20th century. The people thought we have to have a system, and if we use the right system, everything is fine. Yeah, so we have the 12-tone system, we have the aleatoric system, and we have other systems, and we're hiding behind the systems.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's nonsense. It's stupid. It's just nonsense.
Yeah,
I think.
And I think about something that you know, in this milieu, we're very much concerned with the idea of kitsch, and there's something that Milan Kundera talks about.
Uh-huh.
He says that in the Unbearable Lightness of Being, he says that kitsch is afraid of shit, meaning to confront the difficult sides of reality and all these things that are difficult. And then I think about, well, I think the most easy way out is to just work with these systems that you're talking about that are clinically totally clean.
Yeah.
But going into the emotional realm, again, like you're doing in the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre, that is really not being afraid of the shit, meaning what is difficult, what is emotionally very strong to experience. So it's the quite opposite of what they say. Modernism is an escape from all of these things that are difficult in life.
They all wear masks.
Yeah. Slave masks.
Yeah. So musical masks and it's clinical, sterile.
Yeah.
So I think what we have as human beings, we have a heart, and if we don't want to be machines, we can tell the story of the heart. Right. That's it, more or less. And that what people are interested in, I think. And the other things, maybe it can sometimes be fine to make some atonal sounds for some films or so, for some scenes. Everything can happen in that way. That can all happen. There's no problem. But to make a style out of it, to say, I'm a 12-tone composer. What's that? What's that?
Well, it's the same.
That means I will be modern. I will be appreciated, and I want to get prizes, and I want to have a post, and I want to have a title, and I want to have.
But these people are only concerned with spiritual values. Didn't you know?
the conservative communists. You mean? Yeah, but that's a slavish thinking. Because as creator, you have to be free, and you cannot hope that the people will appreciate what you're doing. You do it well because you have to do it. You do it, or you don't know how to do it in another way if you don't want to suppress yourself.
Yeah, there's been plenty of examples of people who become themselves, as they say, meaning they become like everyone else and satisfying all the cliches of the time, and then they say that they found their own voice.
Yeah.
But we talked a little bit before you came, and I was wondering, are there any bright lights in the future? Do you see anything that is in the current situation that is an improvement, or gives some kind of hope for how you can work with classical music and survive doing it, or just the situation for classical music in your case today?
I see that many colleagues begin or are continuing composing tonal. So there are more and more. So we see it on the competitions.
More people apply.
More people apply.
Great.
Yes, and also if you see more or less more people compose tonal. So it is, the trend goes to tonality, and the trend goes, we want to make music, I want to make music, I want to make an opera, I want to make a symphony, I want to make orchestra music, I want to do this. Also in the film music you see that. Since the MIDI music goes, so with the electronic music went up, was more and more the people tried out the instruments, and you hear different sounds. Many of them didn't study the fundamentals. They just tried out, like I did in my first period. Just tried out, and that's nice. Why not?
So there's more people are composing in there, but how? Just on the towards the end here, when I've seen these recordings that you have on YouTube, it seems like you are able with the Harmonia Classica to get some beautiful venues, and it seems like there is a chance, there are possibilities to get these things performed and get it out to people. So well, as you say, you make it part of everyday life of a lot of people.
Yeah, so we go step by step. First, you have to compose it. Then you have to compose. It's a little bit simple. I'm simple thinking. So and then to perform it, then record it, and then to make it on a like a CD or something else, or then you put it into the internet on the website. You send it to different TV stations or radio stations.
Are they playing it at radio stations or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Not it's overwhelming, but you should have a lobby. We have no lobby, but they do. They do. Yes. And who knows, when they have it in the archive, or they hear it from another competing TV stations, why don't we have this music? What is that? Can be. Huh? Or some orchestras find out, we don't want to play music anymore which hurts us. We want to have music which is liked by our audience. Why shouldn't we play Blechinger? Why not?
Yeah, but it seems I've heard from several composers that if the musicians decide, they want newly made tonal music.
Yeah. And they are also executors, so instrumentalists or singers say, "Oh, hello, I want this piece from you. I will play it in that concert." That happens. Yeah. So it's really possible. And I some years ago I had to compose an opera for an open air festival Max and Moritz.
Mm.
So it's a story about two bad boys. So by Wilhelm Busch, maybe you know that. Yeah. So and it was a total success.
Excess and success.
And success. Yeah, they played it 2 years as a two summers, and it was sold out.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it is possible. If not, the politics says no.
Mm.
So the politics is the bad boy.
So give us some bullet points on cultural politics. What is your position?
I think this is that's the position is that this politics, they don't want Europe to be successful. You see it on this nowadays decision about gas, oil. That's crazy.
Mm.
That's just crazy. These people, either they are idiots or they are bad guys. You have the two possibilities. Mm. Our musical professor, music professor in the college said, when we were bad acting in class, friends, are you so stupid or are you so bad? So these two positions are possible, and you can choose which of the positions.
Mm. Because I think it seems like a lot of these things that hinders the performance of new tonal music.
Yes, of course.
Cultural politics,
they have a jury, and the jury is made by the politicians, that they have not the black card, but the jury says what is new and what is not new.
Right.
And so they say yes, this can be played, this can be not played. They don't want Europe to be successful. How can you be successful when you have no gas? When you have only gas from USA, USA has not enough ships to bring it to Europe, and Germany has no enough haven to store it. So what? That's silly. Stop it.
Stop that.
Just stop that.
And you stop state support for culture.
Yeah. They make jokes with us. Mm. It's silly.
Okay, Alexander Blechinger.
Yeah.
Thank you for writing the Atomblitz-Ouvertüre. I've said it many times now. Thank you for coming to the KO Palace.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'd also like to thank the rest of our top sponsors: Dean Anthony, Anders Berger Christensen, Erik Lasky, Herman Borge, Fernando Ramirez, Iver Ukestad, Jon Harald Aspheim, Jack N. Swarner, Jared Fountain, Marion Bu Pedersen, Maurice Robbins, Mr. Delane, Michael Irish, Richard Barrett, Stacy Evangelista, Trim Jordal, and Yngve Helland. And remember, head over to koopalace.com/subscribe and become a member today so you can access all the other videos we have at koopalace.com. I'll see you next month.